Many people think trees need lots of fertilizer in spring. They apply large amounts of nitrogen. They hope this helps trees grow strong and fast. But, this big dose all at once is not always good. It can cause issues for the tree's health. It might not be the smartest way to help your trees. We really need to think differently about feeding trees. Understanding tree needs is key for their well-being. Giving too much nitrogen at one time can be wasteful. The tree just cannot use all of it immediately. Much of this expensive fertilizer can be lost. It might wash away with rain before the tree roots absorb it. This means your money and effort are not well spent. The tree doesn't get the full benefit you intended. It's like offering a giant meal to someone who's not very hungry. This approach needs careful reconsideration for better results. Research now shows us something very important. Trees do not actually require such large amounts of nitrogen. This is especially true in the early spring period. Their needs are different at this specific time of year. They have their own clever ways of getting nutrients. They often store food from the previous year's growth, so a sudden flood of nitrogen is not what they are looking for. This scientific understanding helps us care for trees much better. So that big spring application of nitrogen is often too much. It is more than the tree can effectively use at that point. This can lead to problems beyond just simple waste. It can affect the delicate soil balance around the tree's roots. It might even make the tree more prone to certain pests or diseases. A more careful, measured approach is much better for long-term tree vitality. We want our trees to thrive for many years to come. Thoughtful nutrient management is crucial for their sustained health. Trees are very clever at managing their food resources. They store nitrogen from the previous growing season. This storage happens in their roots, stems, and branches. Think of it like a well-stocked pantry inside the tree. When spring arrives, the tree uses these stored reserves first. This helps new leaves and shoots to grow quickly and strongly. This internal supply is very important for initial spring development. It gives them a head start before roots become fully active. Early spring growth relies heavily on these internal nitrogen stores. The tree doesn't just depend on what is new in the soil. It plans ahead, in a way, for the needs of the new season. The first flush of green leaves you see is often powered by last year's efforts. This is why a huge amount of fresh nitrogen in the soil isn't immediately needed. The tree has its own efficient system already working hard. It draws upon these reserves before seeking external sources extensively. Understanding this cycle is key to appropriate fertilization. The soil is also a big factor in early spring conditions. When the ground is still cold, tree roots are not very active. Cold soil means slower biological activity overall. This includes the activity of microbes that help make nitrogen available to plants. So, even if nitrogen is present, roots cannot take it up efficiently. The tree's entire system is still waking up slowly from winter. Nutrient uptake is minimal until soil temperatures rise sufficiently. Applying fertilizer to cold, inactive soil is largely ineffective. Spring rains can also cause problems for nitrogen use by trees. If you apply a lot of fertilizer, heavy rain can wash it away. This process is commonly called leaching. The nitrogen goes down deep into the soil beyond the reach of roots, or it runs off the surface into streams and rivers. This unfortunately pollutes our precious water sources, and the tree gets very little of the nitrogen you applied. It is a significant loss for your tree and for the wider environment. There is a much better way to feed your trees nitrogen. Think of it like giving small snacks instead of one huge meal. This method is often called spoon feeding by horticulturalists. You apply smaller amounts of nitrogen fertilizer more regularly, but you do this several times during the active growing season. This approach matches the tree's actual needs more closely. It is a more gentle and ultimately effective strategy for tree health. This ensures nutrients are available when the tree can use them. This method of smaller, regular applications works very well. It aligns perfectly with how trees actually take up nutrients. As the soil warms up and roots become more active, the tree can use the nitrogen. It does not get overwhelmed by too much at once. It takes what it needs, precisely when it needs it for growth. This steady supply supports consistent and healthy growth throughout the season. It is much more efficient than large, infrequent applications. This avoids the boom and bust cycle of nutrient availability. Tree roots can absorb these smaller quantities of nitrogen more effectively. This is especially true when they are actively growing and expanding. During the main growing period, roots are incredibly busy. They are constantly seeking out water and essential nutrients from the soil. Providing nitrogen in manageable doses means far less is wasted. More of the fertilizer you apply actually gets into the tree. This leads to stronger, healthier, and more sustained growth over time. The tree benefits more directly from each application. This little and often approach results in better overall tree vitality. It is not just about achieving a quick burst of green leaves in spring, it is about fostering sustained health and robust development. Trees fed this way tend to be more resilient and adaptable. They can cope better with environmental stress, like drought or pests. This careful feeding builds a stronger tree from the roots up. It is a long-term investment in your tree's future health and beauty. This promotes a more balanced and natural growth pattern. One simple way to apply smaller doses is by sprinkling. You can use granular nitrogen fertilizer for this method. Lightly sprinkle a small measured amount on the soil surface. Spread it out evenly under the tree's canopy, reaching the feeder roots. Do this away from the main trunk to avoid any potential damage. Repeat this process a few times during the growing season. Always follow the product label for correct amounts and timing. This method is easy for most gardeners to use effectively. Another excellent method is called fertigation. This means applying fertilizer through your existing watering system. You dissolve a small amount of water-soluble nitrogen fertilizer in water. Then you use your drip, irrigation, or soaker hoses to deliver it slowly. This takes the nitrogen solution directly to the root zone. It is a very precise and efficient way to feed your trees. It ensures the nitrogen goes exactly where it is needed most. This minimizes waste and maximizes uptake by the tree roots. Using these smarter methods helps you save nitrogen significantly. Because the tree uses the fertilizer more efficiently, less is wasted. This means you might not need to buy as much fertilizer overall. Applying only what the tree can absorb at a given time is key. This saves you money in the long run. It also reduces the total amount of fertilizer being put into the environment. It is a win-win situation for you and for local nature. Resource conservation is an important aspect of this approach. This careful approach to nitrogen has big environmental benefits. When less nitrogen is wasted, less of it leaches into groundwater. This protects our streams, rivers, and lakes from harmful pollution. Healthier trees are also better for the environment in many ways. They provide cleaner air, shade, and support local wildlife. Using nitrogen wisely is a key part of sustainable gardening practices. It helps us look after our precious planet for future generations. Responsible fertilization contributes to a healthier ecosystem for all.